Welcome to the Let's Pivot podcast, where founders, leaders, executive coaches focus on clarity and repeatable growth. Our Leadership Unlocked series, and today I'm joined by Randy, an innovative talent and strategy leader, and Maria, CEO of Radix HR, who helps organizations turn human capital into real business impact. AI may accelerate the work, but great leadership drives it. Good afternoon, guys. Pleasure to have you on the show.
Hi, Chuck. Good afternoon. Thank you for having us.
Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
thank you for taking the time. So tell me why? Why did you, it's you know, businesses are very difficult. Why would you get into that? Why would you do everything that you have to do, go through all the extra pain of being a business owner?
All right. So I'll kick it off as we do, as Randy and I would normally do in answering that question. One is one thing we want to tell you, Chuck, is that this company was born during the pandemic. So the intention at that time was truly to help the underserved companies in the Philippines. We were in a lot of pain at the time, especially in businesses where we were in lockdown for a long, long time. So there were inquiries for help and guidance into what else to do with the human capital, various issues that we faced at that time. And at that point in time also, and Randy has his story, because when I found him, he was also not in a good place where he was at that time. And at that point, I also exited the company I was in as a chief people officer. It was a global organization, but there was an urge on my part to do something else and to do something different. So that's one part of the story. And Randy, off to you for your part of the story.
Yeah, as mentioned by Marie, that's how we started. But today, a lot of organizations are, again, like you've mentioned, rushing into AI adoption and business transformation. But very really pause to ask if they're actually ready for the consequences of that speed. Where with Radix HR, through the years, we've learned that technology doesn't transform companies. People do. AI doesn't create that clarity, though it amplifies whatever clarity or confusion already exists. So we want to share, or we want to talk about the growing deep paradigm maybe later on, or what we always say with Radix before we automate decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You need decision maturity. So before we deploy AI, it's about leadership standards. It's about clean processes and a story people can believe in. So
Well, even the AI needs people on the back end guiding
Correct.
it, fixing it, retraining it,
yep.
right? So I I'm not in the camp. I don't think AI is going to replace people. I don't think that's a good way to use it, right? The
Mm-hmm.
best way to use it is to enhance people, right?
Exactly the
To
point.
make them
Absolutely.
more efficient, to make them their job smoother, to reduce friction in the process, right? If AI is used properly, it's not to replace people, it's just to make their jobs lives simpler, easier.
Bang
Exactly.
on.
It's really a powerful tool. Again, it's how you intentionally use that tool.
Right, right.
And in fact,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Sorry.
yeah, I was just about to add to Randy's point that the adoption to AI has a lot to do with fortifying guardrails of the organization and ensuring that everything that they do is repeatable and scalable. And then the real strategic work by the people can now be put in action, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Systems, strategies, processes, procedures, right? And just reducing friction in that process, procedure, keeping it also rigid so that multiple people can do it the exact same way, but,
Absolutely.
kind of intuitive so it doesn't feel like a struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's. I think Marie and I work in a very intentional dynamic. I mean, I carry the why, the meaning, the narrative, the human truth behind transformation. Here, Marie is the way, in a sense, where she's the structure, the system, and the execution that make the truth real at scale.
Mm.
when the why and the way move in parallel alongside with business strategy, human capital, and the AI think that's when transformation actually sticks.
Right.
And Chuck, to answer one question that you started with when we opened the podcast, why are we doing it? I think we want to answer the question with the simple truth that at the end of the day, it's not only to help the brethren, the Filipino brethren, the companies here that struggled. That's one of them. But to put them in a certain standard higher than what they currently hold is something that we feel they can, with a nudge and push from a team of people who understands the roadmap and the journey. We want to give them that only because we feel that they can. And the why and the way is something that we explain to them. It's not an easy journey, to be quite frank with you, but Randy and I are very relentless about what the journey looks like, and we have a lot of real talk with them because there's going to be a lot of friction along the way. Even without the AI, you can just imagine. But even if you put AI into the mix, there will still be friction if you don't understand the end state. So that's where I think the real talk and the tough conversation really happens with Randy and myself and the client.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. So you guys have been 5 years then? Just about 5 years since the pandemic?
Yes, exactly. Yes, thank you.
We started.
Congratulations, right? You make it through the first 5 years. That's the danger point.
Thank you.
You're
No,
probably starting to make some money now. You have some clients. You got some, 5 years.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
actually
you.
our 5th year last December 20th, 2025.
Congratulations. Well, I know that didn't come easy. What was one of the biggest struggles for you in that 5 years?
Well,
Know where to start, Randy. Maybe this you can take this. There's a lot.
as mentioned by Marie, we started to really be valuable to the small medium enterprise Filipino companies. But as we progress, we understood that Radix HR was never meant to be just an HR firm.
Absolutely.
It was built to solve business problems that surface through people. So by understanding what truly needs to change
Mhm.
from the why perspective, and from Marie's perspective of the way, it's designing how change actually happens inside real organizations. So we don't start with tools or programs, we start with the truth.
Okay.
Correct. Correct. And if I can, the only point I'd like to add to that is um, that particular journey takes a multitude amount of time, but I kid you not, there's a start and an end. It's not going to start without an ending. And when we provide them the guidance, the real hard reality is we will take away ourselves in the mix after a bit of time. We want them to scale without us, but we want them to use the framework and the system that we agreed to put together. And it's not a one-sided story of what we dictate. It's about what works for them. Everything that we do is actually bespoke. There are no two solutions that Randy writes that can be used by another company just because it's a banking company. Let's use the same solution that we gave to the other bank. It is never that way. So Randy's brain cells and the way I have to craft the solution, he crafts the solution and I craft the manner and the steps to move towards the end state are truly bespoke for each customer that we have. And so at that point, we actually declared ourselves in our 4th year that we are not actually an HR company. We are in the business of business transformation. So there.
Okay. And let me ask you, what are your plans for growth? Where do you plan on taking it? Do you plan on expanding? You mentioned getting to a point where you're out of the mix completely.
There's a strong opinion on that. Why don't you tell Chuck about it's not about the numbers?
We always talk about that because Marie's past is from a global standpoint. Big global companies, international companies. I had some multi and international companies, but for over a decade, I was a sole proprietor and an entrepreneur as a wedding photographer. And we always talk about growing. What's the true definition of growing? And for us, it's really not about the numbers or the head counts or It's about growing deep. We put it as a foundation before we scale and eventually maybe adding AI to it. It's growth without depth creates fragility, and we believe that AI without depth accelerates dysfunction. So we always ask, what problem are we really solving? And what systems or behaviors and standards must exist first? Because for
Mm.
us, growing deep is choosing clarity before convenience.
Mm.
Let me ask you this. What is the biggest hurdle to growth? Where's your biggest bottleneck at to being able to be deep, but also, you know what I mean, expand your reach? What you do is
Mm.
important work, right? You have people in the Philippines that need jobs. There's
Yes.
companies that need, to hire
Mm-hmm.
these people. They need the labor, they need the work, they need the
Mm-hmm.
skill, right? That
Mm-hmm.
comes. So it's important to be able to connect those people. You provide a very important service that a lot of people would be worse
Mm.
off without it, right?
Right.
So how do you help more people? How do you connect more? So that's all I'm asking. Like, what is your biggest bottleneck to doing that?
Honestly, right now, you can just imagine when we started with friends in the industry who knew us and who believed that we can deliver the ask. We started with people who believed, because of our background, that we can execute. Then later on, Randy found out the hard truth that we must have marketing and social media walk the talk for us as well. It cannot all be all people who know us in the industry. So currently, one of the things that Randy put up in his area of responsibilities and outside of strategy development is actually to create a strong marketing campaign that would unleash the aspect of who we are. But it's not to the end, Chuck, of getting a lot of clients, which is what Randy is trying to point out. It's about finding the match of companies that would need our help and where we can partner for that particular growth. That's why we don't believe that growth is about adding more people.
Yeah.
Of course, we keep a certain revenue line because we have about 30 employees across three different lines of businesses that we have to keep. So that being the minimum requirement, the above requirement to that is ensuring that we retain who we are in terms of the client's eyes, and that we take our employees deep into the roots of what we can grow them so that they can also grow with Radix and grow with the clients that we have.
To,
I
sim- to simply put, Chuck, storytelling. That's what we do. We don't sell any service. We don't provide a service. We storytell where the why becomes shareable. To simply put, like, transformation fails when leaders can't explain it simply. So we try to translate it through storytelling. That strategy is to meaning, and a tool such as an AI is a purpose, and a change is something that you can never change because inevitable.
Mm.
Adds to accountability or ownership. So when we talk to the client, we always put the why where it gives the story its soul, where Marie would ensure that the story shows up in policies, in metrics, and in daily work. Because for us, if people can't retell the story,
Mm.
they won't be able to leave the strategy.
Absolutely.
Right. And, I agree. It's not about a whole bunch of clients. It's about a couple of quality clients that you can partner with and
Absolutely.
provide the best solutions and, actually, be symbiotic to each other, help each other out. So are you currently using any AI? It seems like you have pretty strong feelings about the AI.
Yeah, I mean, the free tools such as Chat GPT and everything that can really help us execute and navigate on things in a seamless manner. Those are the tools that we try to intentionally use.
Okay.
For marketing, you do use Apollo and
Yeah, some bunch of subscription that we can utilize and optimize.
How's that been working out for you?
Marketing is a new, like Marie said, this is a new department for us, because before, me and Marie is the HR, the finance, the marketing, and so um slowly marketing is has its own foot traffic.
Challenges.
We get some organic reach right now and some inquiries out of it. So it's getting there. It's not there yet, but good thing about the people and the teammate that we have, they are intentional about the research. They know who to reach, what audience to funnel in, and that's where what you've mentioned. We don't need many companies. We just need clients and quality companies that really resonates to us. And as I
Mm.
think my son would agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before I let you guys go, I have to ask, what's the one piece of advice you have for entrepreneurs out there, in their first 5 years, getting started, going through the struggles? I don't think it's easy no matter where you live, right? There's all kinds of fires and headaches, tears.
No, absolutely. Thank you for being realistic about that. It's never easy, for both of us. We started our careers being employees, becoming leaders. And then all of a sudden, one quick shift, we're now not only founders, but owners of a company that has 30 employees. So we need to do right by them and by the customers that we have. And if an advice is to be given, it's to be intentional with and be clear. That clarity of communication about who you are is very important to begin with, because that's where we kind of dabbled at the beginning. We thought we were an HR company, only to slowly find out that we are not just in HR. We are more into the multiple aspects of business, because we do understand, thankfully, that we do understand multiple facets of the business. And a lot of the things we do are lift and shift, but also intentional in our approach. And if we do not define who we are and what we are capable of doing, then maybe we are in a haywire with the way we even would solution and communicate to our customers. So that's one. Two is, of course, to take care of your people. Even if we are in the space of human capital management and strategy, we still have a lot to learn, Randy and myself. And we pride ourselves with a culture of open communication. We still experience attrition. It still pains us. It's never perfect. But I think overall, if we keep on being authentic and clear with our thoughts, not only of our identity, but also of our culture, then I believe that we are being true. We can face our customers and be truthful and honest to them that what we're advising them is something also that we care to implement and look into our own camp.
Right.
So I'm sure Randy would have some of his thoughts as well.
Yeah, to the founders or decision makers, that if you're building a startup today or if you're building something, I want to say that your biggest risk is really not the lack of funding nor competition or even AI disruption. By experience, your biggest risk is scaling confusion faster than clarity.
Mm.
I think in every startup that we work, the pattern is the same. It will be brilliant ideas, passionate founders, powerful tools, but unclear decisions, stretched leaders, and systems that don't grow at the same pace as the ambition.
Mm.
This is why Marie and I are very intentional about our roles. Again, I hold the why, which is the meaning, the story, the depth of what you're building, and why it should exist. Why, while
Mm-hmm.
Marie holds the way, again, the structure, the discipline, the systems that make the vision real, repeatable, and scalable. So startups don't fail because they dream too big.
Mm.
They fail because the why outgrows the way, or the way moves without a clear why.
Absolutely.
And now with AI in the picture, this matters even more.
Mm.
AI will not save a startup with poor decisions. It will only accelerate them. So when clarity, leadership, and systems move in parallel, AI becomes now a leverage, not a risk. So again, my message to the founders is really simple, or to the audience of Chuck here. You don't rush to scale. Earn the right to scale, grow deep first. So when growth comes, you're ready to carry it. Depth is the quiet work that makes loud success sustainable. And with that, yeah.
I like that. All right. Well, thank you guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you, Chuck, for having us, and Happy New Year to you.